welcome once again to Sable's WorldForge. I realize this is way early for people anywhere outside of North America, but we're silly and we insist upon doing daylight savings time, and we insist upon doing it before everybody else in the world does. I'm tired. I did not have enough sleep last night, but we're going to do world building anyway. Nice to see you, everybody. Welcome. Good to see you, James, as always, first in the chat. Salut, Amelie. Hello, Kayetan. Hi, Laria. This is a wonderful time for you. Early. It's 9 p.m., says Kayetan. Yeah, it's still like technically an hour earlier for most of the world, I think, because it's, you know, we're at UTC -7 now instead of UTC -8. So it's a wonderful time for you, says Laria. That's good. 8 p.m. around here. 8 p.m. in the UK. I wish I could start earlier more often, you know? But I don't like overlapping a lot of people in the schedule. I feel a little bad that I'm out overlapping Hefe today. Let's see here. And I mean, that's going to happen for a couple weeks, right? So, also, Stretch was supposed to be on doing his Diablo stream, and Harold I'm already overlapping like half an hour of, so yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. More Warwick. I didn't notice a difference, says Kayetan. 2010 UTC UK. Yep. Yes, Amelie is in Scotland, that's right. Okay, to answer your question, yes, James, I do questions today. But I'd like to, and I also do showcases, but I want to point out, today I actually want to get some world building done. So I'm limiting it to 3 showcases, first come, first served, no edits today. Okay? I hope that's okay. But I see we already have a couple of showcases. Amelie has finished her murder flower, which is awesome. Hello, Hefe, thank you so much for the raid. Good to see you. I hope I wasn't cutting you short, because this is, you know, a weird time because North America is stupid. So, and they do their daylight savings time thing stupid. And personally, I think we should just get rid of daylight savings time. Just out. It's outdated if it ever was useful. Hello, Barbarossa. Thank you for saying I'm the best. Nice of you to say that. Hi, Satrium. Good to see you as well. Oncoming shower. Welcome. Eli is here, hello! And AP is in the house, and Daz is here. And of course, Hefe himself, which is awesome. Good to see you guys. I would ask Hefe if he had a good stream, but I was in most of it, so it looked like he was having a good time to me. I was having fun. Thanks for, you know, looking at my article. That was fun. And thank you for showing me about variables. Guys, this is going to be cool. I'm now, since I didn't quite understand how they worked as this new feature, but then Hefe started explaining them, and I'm like, oh, that's actually really simple. So I went in and I made a collection for nations and conlangs, and I'm going to make one for ethnicities, and they're all going to be pronunciation guides because people sometimes stumble over my weird looking words, and that way they won't have to, right? That's the theory. James says, question, what should I address in a section about an era of time? What is that era of time known for, right? Let's consider our own real world eras, right? We have the Stone Age and the Bronze Age, or the Stone Age, the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, right? You know, like, you know, that kind of thing, right? We have the Age of Enlightenment, right? We have the Age of Sail, right? We have all right, that's 3. Kayetan just cast the 3rd one, guys. If I get those done, then we'll open it up to more from there. But, you know, we have the Renaissance, we have the, you know, the Industrial Age, right? These are the kind of things that would be eras, right? So think about it in terms of what's the most significant thing that happened in civilization, culture, or technology in that time period. And then that's kind of what I would loosely define in the description, right? You know, like the Bronze Age was defined by spreading empires and significant advancement in technology as smelting bronze was discovered. It was also a time of innovation, trade, and exploration, right? You know, something like that, right? So, yeah, I hope that's of some help. Right? And then you might go on to name like the major empires of the time, right? If you thought that was important. Satrium agrees with me. Nobody needs daylight savings time. Yeah, that's right. Get it out. Seriously, this is stupid. Yeah. Hydrate. Thank you very much, Natalia. Good to see you. Hail, Hydrate. First day with my rented mouth again. Oncoming shower says I'll be right back. Oh, lost a letter. Yeah, thanks, Hefe. Emily says, I used variables for the first time today too. I made a bunch of tool tips and it's so much quicker like that. Yes. Yes, I agree. It is so much quicker. Yeah. I'm not going to change any of the tool tips I've already got, but I'm going to use the variables from now on. So I need to do a pronunciation guide too, says Emily, but I only caught half of Hefe's explanation, so I'll have to watch the stream again. I was listening, and then I also fired up the codex. They've got variables in the codex already, guys, so you can cross-reference what Hefe is saying when you're listening to him talk. So that is useful. And that was like about an hour ago he started explaining that, so go to an hour before his stream ends approximately there for the VOD, and you'll be able to find it. So. You'll be fine, Barbarossa. Seriously, go watch Hefe's VOD and go to like an hour before the stream ends, and it's roughly there where he started. Yeah. Laurie is, okay, we have less talk, more right, so I'll just finish what is currently in the chat as of Tiller's poking his duck head out of, and hello Tiller's, good to see you, and then we'll write for 15 minutes. So Lauria says, I do enjoy these weird weeks when Americans are an hour earlier. Yeah. And Canadians. I'm not an American, I'm a Canadian, but yes, us too, unfortunately. Satrium says, I think it's a good way to go with variables is use them for everything new and replace the old ones when you stumble upon them. Yeah, it's pretty much my plan. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I can tell you that there are slight, tiny, so if you're OCD, right, there are tiny differences between the way the variable tooltip shows and the original tooltip shows, and that is that the font on the variable tooltip is like 1 point bigger or something, but nobody's going to notice that but me, so I'm not worrying about it right now. But if you're OCD, it will bug you. I'm just saying. Yeah. Hefe says, I'll no doubt show it off again, but yeah, go about 2 hours in or 1 hour from the end. Yes, alright. Alright, I'm going to get writing because Barbarossa told me to. So let's do that. Today I am working on the Peculiar Plants Challenge. I've got a fair bit of it done. I might actually get it done today if I am stubborn about it, which is why I actually want to world build today. So let's do it. Ready and begin. Oh, that's still Kayatan's article that I was looking at because I fired it up. All right. Star mushrooms. Let's see how this looks so far. Okay, got that section done. What I did is I copied the text from Wikipedia and changed it around so that it explained things in a different way and made more sense, but that the information was like right there. So, yeah. And of course, Wikipedia gets into some really scientific type terminology, which is not needed for my world. For one thing, they don't have the same lingo, right? And for another thing, they're like, you know, early naturalist type exploration, right? So they're not, and they don't have this culture of inventing Latin words to make themselves sound more important. So, all right. There's a mushroom called chicken of the forest. Chicken of the woods. That's the one. Interesting. think let's leave that. And that's the sprint. I feel like I got a lot done there. All right. How's everybody else doing? Mine looks the same, I think, says Amelie, maybe because of the CSS, referring to the tooltips and the variables. And hello, Delian, good to see you. Satrium says, spoiler, the variable tooltip visual will replace the normal tooltips at some point. Bah! You know, I get that Dimmy's trying to make this, you know, as less cumbersome as possible, right? It makes sense, right? So if you create something that'll do a variety of things, it makes sense to get rid of the original thing that it's replacing. But the problem with this, right, is that when you don't need something as complicated as variables, you know, it makes it more and more confusing for newer people. And it also makes it so you constantly have to go back and update things you've already accomplished. I get a little impatient with it sometimes, but that's me. Tillers, you're hilarious. CSS, what's that again? Kayatan says, variables received the codex article the fastest from all the features. It was probably a day or two after official release. Nice. Yeah, Tillers adds, oh, those 35k code attached to my world? That's funny. Emily says, I need to make more pictures. Pictures are cool. If I didn't tell her to, she won't do it at all, says Barbarossa. You are wrong. I would so. Emily says, I did invent Latin words to make my flowers sound important. Yeah, I did too, actually. I'm just... They've got all these words to describe the parts of a mushroom, like mycelium. Who the hell knows what a mycelium is? Right? I bet you don't. I didn't. You know what it is? It's the microscopic filament shit that grows underneath the grass that actually forms the full organism of the mushroom. The part that we think of as the mushroom is just a fruit that comes up and goes poo and spews spores all over the place so it can reproduce. That's all it is. So it's interesting. Yeah. Kayatan says, star mushrooms, are they the kind that make you feel good? Tiller says, they make you believe to feel good, says Tillers. Actually, yes. It depends on the part, though. Right? Mostly the use of this particular mushroom is to treat radiation poisoning and help to fight cancer. But the spores are hallucinogenic in larger quantities, yes. And non-toxic. So, and I bet that's the thing you didn't know about psilocybin mushrooms, actually. But psilocybins, for those of you who were here on Wednesday or Thursday or whatever it was, you already know this, but psilocybin mushrooms are actually absolutely harmless. You can eat as many of them as you want, and it might make you feel a little ill, right? A syndrome that people who take mushrooms for recreation call gut rot, but it actually won't hurt you at all. At least if you've got the right mushrooms. Sometimes mushrooms are misidentified and there's a poison in them that acts a bit like psilocybin when you first take it, and then it turns out to be like really toxic, actually. So it's very important to be able to successfully identify mushrooms, and it's quite the art that I just do not feel capable of doing. So yeah. I'm excitedly filling in my census right now, says Shower. That's hilarious. Okay, so the sprint here is about to start in a couple moments, but we're going to do the first of the showcases here. So I'm just going to catch up on the chat. Yeah. Chicken of the woods. Who is naming these mushrooms, says Eli. I understand it tastes a bit like chicken. It's got kind of a lemony, fleshy flavor to it, a bit like chicken or crab or lobster. Not that I've ever eaten any, I have no idea. Gloria says, I need to work in my plant. I have an idea, but I'm currently working in secrets to get my campaign going soon. That's cool. Awesome. Awesome. Malachi says, I'm working on plant, and hello, good to see you. Right? But I keep getting stuck. Oh, maybe we can help you out. I have a brainstorming thingy, by the way. So if you know, with channel points, so if you want to do that, it's the booty coins treasure chest down there. And you can command us for 15 minutes, or, you know, 5, 10, or 15 minutes to help you come up with shit. Of course, if you just ask in the chat, chances are people will just help you anyway. So, Eli is reading about mushrooms, because she's doing mushrooms too, or they're doing mushrooms too, apparently. Emily says scientists like having fun too. Yes. Hello, Esong. Good to see you. Emily says, do you know there is a Sonic the Hedgehog gene? Now that must be explained. Is that what it's called? Sonic the Hedgehog gene? What does it do? Emily says, Shadow Malachi, do you have a specific problem with your plant? The chat wasn't working anymore. You had to reopen the stream. That's a pain in the butt. Just completed the census. Woo! Also made me think that maybe my world should do a census, says Shower. Well, censuses are important, right? They taught us that creating the Domesday Book, right, was the predecessor to accurate taxes. So, and accurate taxes makes your nation run more efficiently. So, Satrim is in the process of translating his world and rewriting stuff in the process. Eli is learning fascinating things about amanita mushrooms. See, amanitas are also hallucinogenic, but they are poisonous in larger quantities. You have to be very careful about the dose that you take. James did 211 words in criminal organization. Excellent. Daz says, still getting my gods in order. There are 51. Holy crap, who needs 51? Well, I guess I have like more than that in my world, so I guess I'll shut up. Kayutan is writing a superhero vigilante story in Magic Earth setting. Awesome. Satrim says he won't get rid of normal tooltips. He'll just make them use the same visuals as the variables have right now to have them look the same. There's not much difference, actually. So it's like 1 point of font. Like one is size 12 and one is size 13, I think, or something. It's like so minor, right? It's, you know, I just know it'll bother OCD people, right? Nobody else is going to notice or care. I assure you, right? Esong says, I did all right, working on my presentation. Excellent. Identified 57 composers I need to add to our database and confirmed access to info for 35 other composers. Yay! That sounds exhausting. Okay, you know what? I think I had better stop trying to chase the chat because we're already 4 minutes into the sprint and we're going to do the first showcase. So we're going to start with Adelaide's Murder Flowers, which we've heard so much about. I love your art. That's beautiful. And there we go with the icon. I love those two. I love these, by the way. I didn't think I would like these font awesome icons and stuff, but I absolutely do love them. And now I'm adding them to every single one of my articles and categories. And I tried to do it systematically, and then I gave up because I was going to do like, okay, all laws look like this, you know, but no, because, you know, if I do like the flora category as like a couple of leaves coming out, right, but I have a mushroom icon for my mushroom, yeah, okay, we have an article table of contents. Typically in English we would put an S at the end of this because, you know, English is stupid. at the end of content. Yeah. Origin. The Alicen flowers were unsurprisingly born from the action of the House of Alicen. Go figure. According to legend, during a particularly bad storm season... Oh, yeah, hey, you know what? I should put this in the chat so you guys can follow along. So here we go. It will be in the chat. There it is. Okay. There we go. Now, according to legend, during a particularly bad storm season, the eastern coast of the estate was ravaged by the attacks of gigantic sentient sea creatures, the Abyss, able to manipulate magic. In order to send them back to the depth of the sea, the members of the House of Alicen and their neighbors, the House of Lyrien, biggest estate in the Empire, performed an extremely powerful ritual. When the magic of the ritual and that of the creature clashed together, magical storms erupted and devastated the region. Afterwards, the magic failed to dissipate properly and the land had to be left. I think you mean uninhabited, right? Because inhabited means that's where they live, and uninhabited means that nobody lives there, right? Over 5,000 years have been enough for wildlife to return to form what is now called the Black Forest. I like that. I like how you're using our real-world Black Forest and kind of its fairy tale legends and incorporating it to some degree. I don't know if that's true, but I'm sure it's at least partially inspired, right? All plants and animals living there have been strongly affected by the remnants of the magic, making the region extremely dangerous to travel. Even nowadays, only the river that crosses the forest can be used by small ships, though not without danger. Since the river gives directly to the sea infested with the sea creatures, it is not usually worth the risk. I'd say connects directly or empties directly into the sea, right? Because chances are that the sea creatures come up, right? Up the river. The Alicen flower was one of the numerous new species born from this incident and the most aggressive of them all. It is even more special than the other plants, as it is said to have been created from the blood that was dropped by Lord Alicen during the ritual. The sea creatures devastated the eastern coast. That's great. Just a bunch of frickin' tentacles. And this kind of woods looks very much like the area where I live, right? It's like, this is the kind of forest, the arboreal forest that, like the mountains around here have that kind of forest. So, like, I could see this being a lake somewhere in British Columbia, and then this big creature coming out. It's great. Or the sea coast of like Vancouver Island and whatnot. So yeah. So in other words, I like this. It makes it feels very real to me. It's good. Habitat. The Alicen flowers grow only in the Alicen estate, either in the wild in the Black Forest or in culture in the Alicen or in culture or I would say cultivated within the Alicen Manor. It is suspected that they need to be surrounded with the magic of the Alicen land to survive. Some have argued that the only reason why they are not found outside of the estate is that they have killed anyone who has attempted to remove them. That's hilarious. However, this can only be considered an argument in favor of their preference for the Alicen land and reluctance to leave, for surely the plants would otherwise love this opportunity to spread to new environments. Inside the Black Forest, the flowers prefer to find wet areas and swamp conditions. While bred in the Alicen Manor, they are kept directly inside an artificial pond. Rather surprisingly, the Alicen flowers have good relationships with most other plant species, even occasionally coming to the help of plants. Aid is the word you want here, right? Even occasionally coming to the aid of plants that are hurt by animals. AID. Yeah. The flowers like to grow in the shade of particular species of trees, especially the apple trees that gave their emblem to the House of Lyrien. The two species have been known to cooperate in killing sea creatures and sharing their corpses. Ooh. In addition, the year-round apples attract forest animals, guaranteeing a constant flow of prey for the flowers. Symbiosis. Gotta like it. Dark forest in the Alicen estate. Yeah, you say Black Forest up here and Dark Forest here. I assume you change the name at some point, but they should probably be consistent. And that looks pretty! Deceptively so. I'm like, I want to go for a walk there. No, I don't, do I? Okay. Morphology. The ASC flower is characterized by its big and colorful flowers, or flower. Okay, it's either flower that averages between 5 and 10 centimeters, or big and colorful flowers that average between 5 and 10 centimeters. You need verb. It's singular or plural agreement in your verbs there. Yeah, verb and noun. Okay, yeah. Between 5 and 10 centimeters, the size of a hand. Only one flower grows per plant. The petals are a beautiful color, a mix of turquoise, the color of the ASCs, blue, and purple. Just a note that beautiful is subjective, right? So if you're describing this in an encyclopedic kind of way, it's a value judgment that you're putting on the plant and injecting the voice of the narrator. If someone were editing Wikipedia, they would probably delete that, right? Just, you know, I'm not married to it. I'm just letting you know, right? The color is due to aggregates of proteins that bind magical particles. Nice. Each flower has a unique mixture of colors forming patterns that distinguish them from each other. There are between 20 to 40 petals arranged in 3 rows, giving the flower a radial symmetry. A petal of an ASC flower. Beautiful. And actually, I like the fact that you've chosen like a blue and blue and purple kind of shade, right? Because that shade, when you see it in a flower in nature, means do not fucking eat that, right? That is really poisonous. Do not ever put that in your mouth, right? So it's a nature's warning sign. I kind of like it. Okay, the flowers are perennial and never fade. When damaged, the plants can regrow their flowers. However, since they are an essential part of their culture, they hate showing themselves in that state, and this puts them in an even more and terrible and aggressive mood than usual. Okay, so clearly these flowers are sentient. They're sapient. They have intelligence. They have moods. The stamens are a mixture of light pink and purple, and they contain either pollen or a chemical that is hallucinogenic to humans and animals. Either or, eh? Neat. While the pollen is only released through contact, the chemical is projected in the air, and magic makes it float over long distances. You need an S at the end of distance here. The plant has a short stem that is attached to an enormous network of roots. It can control oh, that's clever. Okay, I've heard of that before, but there's something in the sentence that's awkward. It can control both to move around. Are you talking about both the stem and the roots? Right? In which case, I would say let's see. I'm trying to think of how I would put that that's a little less confusing. Yes, both the stems and the roots? Okay, I'll just say that, I guess. Yeah, it can control both stem and root, or stems and roots. Something like that, thanks to the magic protein aggregates located at its base. I would say, how would I put it? Both can be moved there. Both can be moved thanks to the magic protein aggregates located in its base. Or and that's the sprint for those of you sprinting. Maybe I would say Alicen flowers are ambulatory. The plant has a short stem that is attached to an enormous network of roots. Both roots and stem can be moved thanks to the magic protein aggregates located at its base. Something like that. Each of the roots is at least hundreds of meters long. At least indicates a minimum value. So you should give a minimum, like a specific minimum. Each of the roots is at least 100 meters long, right? Or you could say each of the roots is hundreds of meters long, right? And then just delete at least. They are bright green and fluorescent after a magic-filled meal. Thin red thorns cover them. You've got covered, so, you know, alongside which are glands filled with poison. I'd say thin red thorns along with thin red thorns and glands filled with poison alternatively dot its surface, something like that. Just because that's a little awkward, but I'm not married to it, so ignore me if you want. The plants are sentient. They do not, thank you for confirming, they do not have an organ that can be likened to a brain, but the magic protein aggregates carry a similar function. Cool. Thus, after being partially destroyed, plants can grow back from only the flower or the base of the stem, but not from both at the same time. Okay. So if you completely destroy the fucking thing, it's dead. But if you leave either the flower or the base of the stem alive, it will grow back. It's neat. Makes it very hard to eradicate. Okay, the plant's lifespan is unknown, as none apart from the Alicen and Lyrian, have been able to study them close enough to determine this. When asked, the members of both houses have said that the plants are immortal and that some specimens created during the initial cataclysm are still around. This is generally disbelieved, as although any human, animal, or plant with sufficient magic is immortal in theory, in practice no one has lived more than a few centuries. It is likely that sooner or later all flowers are killed by the sea creatures or the animals of the forest. Yeah, so they're more likely to die by attrition than they are from withering and passing into whatever flowers call old age. So, and then you've got a schema of an Alicen flower. Fuck, I'm gonna have to up my game. Okay, because I gotta make one of these now. Root network, base, petal, magic protein aggregates, stamen with pollen or hallucinogenic chemical, the pretty pink things, pistil, ovules, stem, and then poison glands and thorns. Oh, the poison glands are in the thorns. Okay. Thin red thorns cover them, each of which contains a gland filled with poison. That's how you say that then. Okay. That is really cool. I'm glad you included the diagram. That is very, very helpful. I am now going to have to do something like that. Damn you. Okay. Senses and carnivory. I don't know what carnivory means in that context, but I'll take your word for it, because you are a scientist and I am not. The Alicen flowers can feel vibrations through their roots and detect chemicals in the water and air, thus recognizing the approach of their prey and other flowers' unique scents. I would say, because it's a plural flowers, scent has to be plural. In addition to sentience, the magic protein aggregates, you have multiple proteins here, you should delete the S. The magic protein aggregates contained in their petals give them a sense of sight and hearing, with the plants able to understand human languages despite not having been previously exposed to them. Yeah. Okay. Plants with damaged flowers and seedlings without a proper flower have diminished senses and are vulnerable. Neat. And that's the growl of the dragon of productivity for those of you who are going back to sprinting, demanding sacrifice. I think we are very close to finishing. No, we're not. Okay. It's a long article. Alright. We're going to take a break after this showcase, because I have to take a bio break. You know what? Actually, screw it. I'm going to take a bio break right now, gang. I'm sorry that I'm in the middle of the article. I will resume it in just a moment. As always, feel free to use the break as a sprint, and I will probably do the same a little bit when I get back, but nature calls. No problem, sorry it's so long, says Emily. I have no right to complain about long articles. Don't you worry about it. Okay, I will be right back. I'm back and I am actually munching things in the background, so I may be a moment. Angstaze, thank you so much for the raid. You came in kind of at the end of one of our sprint breaks here. 180 words for Lappin criminal organization, says James. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to catch up on the chat for 5 minutes here before we flip back to the sprint timer. Why are most superheroes American? Asked Kayatan. Because the pulp literature industry began in the United States when those pulp magazines were very concerned with, you know, American propaganda, basically pro-American propaganda. And then that's where superheroes, as we currently understand them, took off. And, you know, so all the companies were there, and it was kind of incorporated into the literature at the time, and then it spread elsewhere. So that's why, right? But I'd say that the bastards can't even keep their own superheroes and give us our, you know, give superheroes to anybody else. Did you guys know that both Wolverine and Deadpool are Canadian? Fact, okay? Fact. That's their background. That's their story. Yeah, Ansaze knows because she's Canadian. I bet nobody who's not Canadian knows. They didn't pay attention to that. Do I know the song Mary Ellen Carter? No, I do not, Ansaze. Yeah, that's right. They all do now. Exactly. You know, at least Ryan Reynolds sounds like a frickin' Canadian. I knew Wolverine was, not Deadpool. Yep. You bet. Ha. Ours. Okay? Also, we have our own superhero team called Alpha Flight. Alright. Just to check and see what I may have missed that's important in the chat previously. Gimme will never break anything that's already there, says Satrium. He knows how much time people spend on things. Well, that's good. Swiftness author says, mushroom threads, mushroom head. Yeah, mycelium is mushroom threads. That's right. Exactly. It's also a block in Minecraft. I didn't know that. My character would be one of the first Polish superheroes. That's awesome. The Secret Life of Tree by Peter Wolverine is a fascinating book about trees and mushrooms. Greatly recommended to everyone, says Amelie. I talked to my mother about it too. E-Song mocking me for the way I come up with things on the fly. Oh, that's hilarious. When the gene is lost, the embryo gets spikes like a hedgehog, so the scientists had fun with the hedgehog protein. Okay, I'm totally copying that link, and I'm going to put it up to look at it later. Because that, I've got to know. I've got to know! I got to know! Sonic Hedgehog is a protein. That's hilarious. Okay. The more races you have, the more gods needed. I suppose that's true, Daz. Natalia says, I need to stop looking on Pixabay. Too many ideas are popping up. I had that problem the other day. I was looking up blue glowing bark, actually, because I wanted to give a picture of the mycelium of the star mushrooms. And I looked up blue glow on Pixabay and found a whole bunch of jellyfish. So now I'm coming up with this idea about space jellyfish. Anyway, they even gave me a picture of jellyfish in space. E-Song says, gotta be honest, did not expect to spend my Sunday learning about mushrooms. One of the reasons I love the stream is I will always learn something I wasn't anticipating. Well, that's cool. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. Chatty today? Not exactly, Siobhan, and hello. I'm doing showcases. What shade is poisonous? The blue? Yes. Blue flowers should not be eaten under any circumstances. They are always poisonous. Alright, we're going back to the sprint timer now, gang. And I'm going to continue with Amale's showcase here. Sorry for the delay. Senses and Carnivory. I'll recopy the link in the chat because I realized there's a couple people who just came in and there was a big long break. James says my alarm just went off to come to Sable's stream. Like 20 minutes ago. This is how far back I am in the chat, gang. 20 minutes. Two weeks to change, so I'm not changing the alarm. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Oh, cool! Emily's going to get the stickers from last November for NaNoWriMo. That's awesome. Also cool about the place in Warsaw where you can time travel. Enjoy that, right? Where you see the road and then you move to the side, you see earlier shots of the road under construction, because Google Earth does update their stuff all the time, so they will eventually update that, so you won't enjoy it anymore. So, like, I don't know, take a screenshot or something, because that's neat. And Esong did the demographics added for 38 composers. That's awesome. What? Eli says, Twitch twitched hard on me. You're chatting too fast. Please, I haven't said anything in at least 5 minutes. No, you certainly haven't, actually. Space Jellyfish, I have to write the article? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to. Trust me, I will. Can I do Cayetans first, as James will have a bath soon? Yes, I sure can. No problem. Okay, so back to the showcase. Senses and Carnivory. The Alicen flowers can feel vibrations through their roots and detect chemicals in the water and air, thus recognizing the approach of their prey and other flowers' unique scent. In addition to sentience, the magic protein aggregates, and again it's a multiple there and it shouldn't be of proteins, contained in their petals give them a sense of sight and hearing, with the plants able to understand human languages despite not having been previously exposed to them. I already read this paragraph, didn't I? Plants with damaged flowers and seedlings without a proper flower have diminished senses and are vulnerable. The hallucinogenic chemical in the flower stamens give animals pleasant visions and give the flowers, you would, again, singular and plural agreement, delete this S on gives. The flowers an extremely pleasant fragrance, attracting the animals towards them. Once close enough, the flowers use their roots to grab them and drag them towards them. I would say to grab their prey and drag the victim towards them, because otherwise this them is kind of confusing. Something I always am fixing in my own edits, by the way. Okay, once close enough, the flowers use their roots to... Okay, we already said that. The thorns present on the roots then pierce the skin, and the poison glands pour their content inside the prey. This poison first attacks the magic and the nerves of the prey, thus paralyzing them. Then it attracts the magic towards the roots like a magnet so that the plant can suck it out. That's awful, I love it. The flower's favorite prey are the gigantic sea creatures living in the eastern sea that still regularly attempt to come back to the Black Forest. If not available, they eat all the animals living in the Black Forest and any human venturing there. So they actually serve a functional purpose in that they protect the local area from these crazy-ass sea creatures, so that's neat. But they themselves are frickin' dangerous. Sea creatures from the abyss, those are great. Yeah, there's some creepy-ass shit in the deep that you don't have to look hard to find. This is a real fish, I know, with the big teeth and stuff over here, right? And, yeah, so it's just that it's usually not big, but if it were big, it would be, like, really terrifying. Society. Communication and etiquette. Well, I suppose they're sentient beings. They need a society. The LSN flowers communicate together by touching each other's apostrophe S, you need at the end of other, roots and exchanging magic. Thus they have an elaborate as opposed to elaborated soldier life or social life. Okay. Yeah. The flowers have a particular way of entering the territories of flowers not belonging to their family group. They stand on the border and inch a root over to the other side while also releasing a small amount of their hallucinogenic chemical in the water. If the amount is not small enough, this is perceived as a challenge or even a mortal offense. The flowers to which the territory belongs come to inspect the newcomers and decide if they grant them rite of passage or not. Well, that will also limit their expansion, so that's a good thing. Some flowers make the round of their congeners' territories, but do not perhaps come inside. I don't really understand that sentence, I'm sorry. The flowers instead touch each other's roots. Delete the apostrophe after the S, keep the one before it. Probably to exchange news and gossip before leaving. The flowers always know when they are being disrespected, and they do not like it at all. Whether the culprits are humans, animals, or other flowers, any such action is met with swift retribution. The flowers have even been known to draw out the torments of particularly disagreeable prey for hours. As the plants have only one flower each, and that flower is important for their social life, they are extremely protective of it, and damaging a petal is a mortal offense even in otherwise allied plants. Yeah, that makes sense. This is very neat, this drawing. Courtship and reproduction. The hallucinogenic chemical that gives, and you need an S there, the LSN flower its scent, or that give the LSN flowers their scent, one or the other, is not for attracting pollinators. As the flowers are sentient, they are not dependent on passive mechanisms to reproduce. In fact, they eat any that would come close enough. Instead, color and scent are courtship mechanisms devised to attract other flowers' attention and seduce them by showing off their predation abilities. Indeed, all of those elements depend on the amount of magic a flower is able to obtain from its meals. Each flower has its own preference in the colors and patterns of potential mates' petals and in their scent. They do not practice self-pollination. Wonderful. Once some plants have decided to mate together, they rub their flowers, plural, together to put their stamens and pistils in contact. Both plants are pollinated simultaneously, and both will produce offspring. Nice. Contrary to other types of flowers, they do not lose their petals after pollination. The pistil slowly transforms into a follicle, a small dark blue nut-like fruit with a hard covering. It contains 2 to 3 seeds. Neat. When the incubation period is completed, the follicle opens by dehisking, the splitting and maturity of the fruit along a built-in line of weakness. Okay, yeah, like my, walnuts do, or, yeah, walnuts are a good example. Okay, to release the seeds into the surrounding water, the pistil then regenerates. Flowers do not reproduce very often, with an average of once every 50 years, always in spring. The entire community is very protective of pregnant flowers, and catching sight of them is extremely difficult and almost always deadly. Pregnant plants do not hunt. Instead, the other flowers in their group bring them the prey they catch. If the pregnant flowers do not have partners available, as the two flowers who pollinate each other get pregnant together, any nearby flowers assist them instead. Neat. Very, very neat. Seedlings and family groups. Once dropped into the water, a seed immediately germinates with no dormancy period. Ooh. The seedling grows its roots first, although it takes a year for it to be able to catch small prey by itself. In the meantime, the parents bring food directly to its roots, first animal corpses, then, after 6 months, live prey. After a year, it starts to grow a stem and the beginning of a flower bud. The flower will not bloom before the plant is 5 years old, and this event results in all nearby plants visiting to admire the new petals. Aww. Younglings have dimmer petals than adult flowers, and they get progressively brighter in the following years until they reach full maturity at 10 years old. If I were a druid, I would want these fucking plants. I would keep, like, a whole bunch of them, and I would be like, oh, my wonderful babies, and I would bring them food, and I would take care of them, and I would polish their petals, and, you know, all this stuff, and then I would, like, you know, sick them on people. I love it. Okay, the Alicen flowers live together in small groups of partnered flowers and their offspring. The seedlings stay with their parents for 10 years, after which young plants live together in roaming bands. Roaming bands of murder flowers. Ah! Once they find their own partners, they settle in their own territory. Mated flowers stay together long after pollination. They all hold roots together and only separate briefly for hunting. That's neat. And that also makes them more difficult to eradicate once they have set their roots down. Do they have anything on their roots that lets them dig? Oh wait, no, because they live in water. They live in standing water, so they don't need to do that. Okay, never mind. Okay, uses. The Alicen flowers still fulfill their initial purpose by killing all sea creatures that come into the Black Forest, thus keeping the estate safe. The flowers are not happy about people harming them to collect their poison or to send them to someone they wish to kill. Okay, and they attack anyone attempting to do so. So, wouldn't work if I were a druid. Well, I might ask them nicely. I'd say, protect me, I'm going to take a nap here. They also resist being harvested for crafting. In any case, the flower's magic is too strong even after their death, and it would disrupt the magic of any craft in a likely deadly manner. Instead, if the Alicens wish to dispose of their enemies, they send them a location pentagram keyed to a place in the middle of the Black Forest that is warded to prevent anyone leaving by using another location pentagram. The Alicens have an observatory in their manor that allows them to spy on anyone in their estate. They can use it to observe their enemies stumbling through the forest and their eventual demise at the Alicen flower's roots and the other predators living in the forest. Despite the plant's general animosity, there have been legends of them coming to the rescue of members of the houses of Alicen and Lyrian when they were in danger. The details of such events are unclear, as the houses are keeping such strategic, not strategical, information secret, and singular secret, not plural. If such stories are true, it can be concluded that the flowers are aware of their origins and keep some affection for their creators. Interesting. Alicen flowers eating a small sea creature. Aww. I meant, aw, isn't that cute? The flowers are murder flowers. You know, kind of like when you watch your cat, like, smacking a ball of string and going, ah, ah, with its little teeth, and you're like, aw, its murder skills are so good. It's so cute. Anyway. Cultural impact. The Alicen flower is known by everyone in the Empire and has always been so closely associated with the House of Alicen that they have made it their emblem. So would I. The ballroom in the Alicen Manor is also extremely famous. The floor of the room is made of a clear, see-through crystal, under which is a deep pool of water. A population of Alicen flowers floats inside it, showing off their beautiful colors to the Imperial nobility. However, if guests are particularly rowdy, the Alicens can dissolve the floor under their feet to let them fall below and become food for the flowers. Oh, these are so evil. I love them. And I'm going to read your side thing here. Okay, so this is the table of contents, which is a good idea in a long article like this. Taxonomy, Kingdom, Plante, Division, Magnoliophyta, so related to magnolias, I presume, with seeds and flowers. Oh, with seeds and flowers. Okay, that's what that means. Okay, class, Sentes, sentient. Order, Venenales, infected with poison, enchanted. Family, Carnivorae, or Carnivораceae, carnivorous. Genus, Nigrasilva, Black Forest. Species, Alicenflos, which of course means Alicen flower. Neat. Creation. Estimated to have been 2,800 years before the creation of the Empire. The Black Forest in the estate of Alicen. Okay, so that's like a general map. It doesn't say, okay, these are where the flowers are found specifically. It just kind of focuses on the estate of Alicent. That's cool. The Abyss and the Sea Creatures, related articles. Estate of Alicent, the Abyss and the Sea Creatures. Suggested articles because you needed to put something in the big long sidebar. And that's the sprint, gang. And that is great. I really like this. This is cool. I gotta up my game, Emily, because you're gonna kick my butt. That's amazing. I absolutely love that, actually. I love your murder flowers. Very cool. All right. Well, let's see here. Oh, I got laggy shit going on again. Okay, it just froze for a second. That's not a big deal. Emily said, just looked up French superheroes and we do have some. I even know one of them, though it was books, not comics. I'm sorry, Anastasia, I'm going to refund your points. I said that I was at the beginning, and I guess I didn't repeat it when you showed up, that I'm doing showcases today, right? And I'm doing 3 because I actually do want to get some world building done, and I'm not going to take any more until I know that I have time for those 3. And right now I've done 1, and it's 2:30. So if I get a chance, if you're still here, then please resubmit and I will be happy to do it, but it's not fair for me to take your points right now. I'm going to fire up the reward queue so that I can do that. And I see I haven't cleared things in a while. I better do that in a minute. So, refunded. Sorry, it's my fault I was not clear. I'm going to clear some stuff from the queue while I'm at it. I hope it's not causing too much problem in the stream. I'm surprised it's actually showing it. Okay, and I still have... Okay, the name generator I always keep because that way I remember to do it until I've actually done it. Okay, and those have all been done. Okay. Alright, I'll deal with the showcase critique after. Alright. Now. Sorry about that. Oh, see you later, Shower. Thanks for joining me. Totally not your fault, Angsaze. It's mine. Right? I don't want to hold on to your points in case I don't get the chance to do it. right? That's all. Because it's not fair to you. Okay, I realized that I just took a break, but I need to take another break. So, because, I don't know, I have to pee today. I think I'm drinking too much coffee. But I will be right back, gang. I will see you in a minute. And as always, please use this as a sprint. We will do your brainstorm after the sprint break there, Eli. I am back and working in the background. And that is the sprint. How did you guys do? I got a little bit more world building done here. I went back to Pixabay like an idiot. And I found a picture I like better for my mushrooms, but now I've got an idea. Glowing mushrooms are cool. All right, so Eli says, I need help coming up with a plant because I want to make 3 for future story needs. I have my dreams, Mary. I'm working on my demonic mushrooms, but I want something else. Anyone have any ideas? Good questions here. Is Dreams Mary a flower? Are you thinking of something small like a mushroom or a shrub, or something large like a tree? Something seasonal year-round? Yes, Dreams Mary is a flower. Siobhan says, or a fungus of another variety, or a moss. Does it need to have someone help it grow? Annual, or is it fairly self-sufficient? Perennial? Do you want something that have uses for your characters? Medicinal applications or a special type of wood? Eli says, something useful. I have a vague idea that it should be some kind of edible, farmable plant, but I'm not sure what. Okay, Siobhan suggests that moss can make a good ground cover and be used for medicinal purposes. You can make it edible as well if you wished. Question, when you calculate your word count, do you include figure title in it? Yes. Basically, you put your preview screen up for your article and everything below the title, copy it, and then paste it into word counter, and that's how they keep track of word count. So yes, it will include things like my sidebar that says go look at the menu, right? Or click on the compass, it includes all the names of the pictures, everything. Dad says, ooh, trickster moss. If you sleep on it, the moss reads your dreams, and by the next night it takes the shape of something in your dream. And if it's something that moves, the moss becomes mobile and acts in whatever it was doing in your dream. Don't have a nightmare. Of course, now Amelie is like focused on carnivorous plants, so she's thinking of carnivorous lichens and mosses too. Daz's divines are being troublesome, meaning she probably didn't get much done during the sprint. Tried to think of magical crop plants. Okay, magical crop plants is what Eli's looking more like wheat or potatoes. Okay, Ong Saze says, been having people on Philcaven rip apart my Scanson. It's, quote, fun. Yeah, not so much, eh? James, I haven't even gotten to Kayetan's article yet. Amelie says, a vegetable, fruit, or something like wheat, potatoes that can be staple food. Triffids were a valuable source of oil. Yeah, that's true. The title of the block out articles too is included in the word count. Yup. Amelie says, oh, I think I may be slightly over with all of the image titles. You might be. Damn, I hate my brain, says Natalia. There's another story. Okay. Vegetable, fruit, or a staple food. And we are running out of time in the brainstorm here. Does it do anything aside from be a food crop? Like, does it have a magical property? Is that something that you want to add? 2,427 words. I'm safe. Barely, Amelie, but yes. That's pretty typical of me when I'm doing an article for a challenge. I don't think this one's going to be that long, though. Alright, so we're going back to the sprint timer. And Eli still technically has a minute or two Alright. Anastasia says, I can't sing, so I miss the bits where, why are you letting the be a stressed syllable rather than fourth? Yeah, I hear ya. It probably has a magical property, maybe protection? Okay. Do you still want me to do Cayetan's article first there? I probably should because he's got to go to bed, so I will do his first. Okay, a food crop with a magical protection quality. How about something that sustains you in hunger longer? It's a food crop, and it's something ubiquitous like wheat or rye or potatoes, right? That, I mean, it basically counts as like 2 days worth of calories instead of 1. You'll get hungry less. So it not only suppresses appetite, but makes it, like, actually nourishes you for extra time. This would therefore be the friend of the poor, right? And they might call it something like poor man's wheat. There's a thought. That's a thought. Okay. Okay, cool. I'm going to go on with Cayetan's showcase here. And if anybody else thinks of anything that they can help Eli out with, or if you'd like to point me in another direction, Eli, then that is totally fine, and we'll address it at the next break. Alright. Ruby Dagger. Ruby Mage. What does she do? Ruby necklaces? Item type, weapon, melee. Rarity, currently there isn't any known Ruby Dagger. It is said they were common in the past. Weight, 0.5 kilogram. Dimensions, 20 centimeters length. Raw materials and components, a ruby crystal, medium size, and a piece of leather. Ruby daggers were magical weapons used by prehistoric Asian and African warriors. The exact reason for their disappearance is unknown, probably running out of ruby. Excuse me. It is said that each ruby dagger had a magical bond with a warrior who wielded it. The bond made them better warriors and protected the daggers. Any person other than the bonded warrior who touched a ruby dagger was pushed away by it. Because of the need for a bond, it is said that only magic users were using them. Makes sense. Mechanics and inner workings. A ruby dagger bonded with a warrior acted as a booster, you need A there, of the warrior's abilities. It increased their strength as well as allowed them to channel magic through the dagger. Magical energy which went through a ruby dagger was amplified and concentrated. It is said that it was possible to instantly kill a person with it, but there is no way of proving, not proofing. You need a V where the F is, the theory, and you've got a typo there, THA, and it should be THE for the. Manufacturing process. Every warrior had to make his own dagger. The blade was formed in the shape of a long triangle with thin top, and becoming wider as it went down. With a thin top, perhaps, and becoming wider as it went down. You might also want to say the blade was formed in the shape of an elongated triangle. Or, yeah, that might work. The hilt was made from the same piece of crystal, an elongated triangle or arrowhead shape, maybe even, right? The hilt was made from the same piece of crystal, but was thinner and round. To make it more comfortable to hold, it was covered with leather. When the dagger was ready, the warrior was creating a bond with it, or the warrior created a bond with it using magic, not was creating. I realize that past perfect and past tense are fucking confusing. I get it. How about the pommel, right? Was it flat? Was it rounded? Like a gemstone with multi-facets, sort of like a disco ball? Like, you know, or did it just, like, have a rounded hilt that just ended without a pommel, because a pommel makes a dagger easier to hold, right, and keep in your hand, right? A dagger or a knife without a pommel should never be held like this. It should be held like this, right, with the base of the hilt pressed into the palm of your hand. Because if you don't do it that way, then when you try to stab anything with it, especially if blood is involved, once you've made the first wound, it'll just slip right out of your hand, right? And it might just do it anyway without a pommel, which is why a lot of daggers include pommels, and knives too. So just an info. And yeah, this is your item flash challenge. It's very cool. I like the idea. My mistake, assumed that the pommel is obvious. Yeah, fair enough. Not always though, right? Oh yes, happy Pie Day, Eli. I'd just add, let's see, where would I put that? Make it nice and simple here. The hilt was made from the same piece of crystal, but was thinner and round, ending in a wide pommel, or a rounded pommel. There you go. Okay, doesn't have to be complicated. Ruby, a magic crystal. It is said that rubies, sapphires, diamonds, and other gemstones are conduits, you need an S there at the end of conduit, right, of magical energy. Any such energy which goes through one of these gemstones is amplified. Some people theorize that these gemstones, I would say not those, these gemstones are made completely out of magic. Neat. Ruby Dagger, what a dumb name, but it would be cool to have it. That's funny. I don't think it's a dumb name. It's a dagger. It's made out of ruby. People aren't that creative, you know. We come up with very similar, like, you know, our names tend to be simple descriptions, especially in English, right? So it doesn't need to be complicated. I think that's very cool. I like how short and sweet it is, actually. I'd love to see a picture of the dagger. I wonder if that's possible. Let's see here. Pixabay Ruby Crystal Dagger. Let's see if I can do that for you. Probably not, but let's find out. Actually, let's try Crystal Dagger. Haha. Pixabay Crystal Dagger. Crystal Dagger photos. Alright. Nope. Fail. Alright, I see why it's so difficult. You would think that that would actually be something that would be pretty common. I've seen, like, I even have, or had, a dagger carved entirely out of a semi-precious gemstone there. Don't remember the name now. It's a purple stone. It's mined primarily in Russia. Started with a C. I don't know. Can you visually tell a crystal dagger from a glass one is a good question. And I don't know. That's a good question for Kalyatan. Amalay says, I think you might be able to take a ruby and use an eraser to make it dagger shaped. Yeah, that might be possible with Photoshop or whatever, right? Or you could find a picture of a crystal dagger, because it's gotta exist out there, and turn it red. Daz is having a banana split break. I'm jealous. Eli says, I have a vague idea, something related to cassava maybe, but I need to do some more thinking. Okay, awesome. Yeah, or find a picture of a glass dagger. Yeah, I suppose that's possible too. Crystal dagger, not red. James found one. Cool. Let's have a look. Ah! That's pretty spectacular. Yeah, and then what you would do is you would take this into a graphic alteration program and turn it red. Oh, I think you can add the picture of your character holding it, Kayutan. Yeah, no, that's cool. All right. So here's James's article. I think perhaps I'll... Oh, wait, no, this is short. I might be able to do it, like, in this one. All right. All right, James's character article, Johnny Miller. Personal history. Johnny Miller was born in a village and would finish his school day by helping his father, Wilfred. Once he finished school, he couldn't start college due to his distance to the closest one. Instead, he was put to work in the same apple orchard as his father. I'd like to know what village. And let's see, was born in a village, and it might also be nice to know, you know, was it just his father? Did he have a mother? Did he have any siblings? Okay. Right, when Johnny was in his early 20s, the harvest of apples began to fail. One year got so bad that Wilfred may have to be laid off. One year got so bad that Wilfred was in danger of being laid off, perhaps. Or that Wilfred might have had. Right, that's the wrong tense there. Since Wilfred was mainly supporting both of them, this did not spell well for the pair. Bode well is the phrase you're looking for there. Since Wilfred couldn't retrain due to his age, Johnny took it upon himself to fix the issue. Since one of the variants of apple they were cultivating was failing due to a blight, comma, instead of period, Johnny tried to artificially crossbreed two apple varieties to make a new one. Right? Yeah, because that would make it a whole sentence. And you don't need these extra commas here after cultivating and varieties. It's a good place to take a breath, but yeah. Working into the night and in the tavern, in the village, that's not a complete sentence. Working into the night and tavern, in the village, on most nights, he did what? Right? Because working is simultaneous to doing, right? If you're wanting to use it like that, you go, he worked into the night, and in the tavern in the village. Or, in addition to working in the tavern in the village, he stayed up late into the night working on his project. Something like that. With some false starts and some failures, in his mid-30s, he managed to make a variety of apple that was not as susceptible to the blight. Don't need the comma there after apple. The new variant didn't just supplant the losses, but made a slight surplus of apples. His work was praised and a statue was made in honor of his achievement. The statue of him in a walking stance, holding a copper apple in his right hand, the subject of his study. Okay, that's also not a complete sentence. The statue of him in a walking stance holding a copper apple in his right hand, the subject of his study, and a bottle in his left hand, depicting the place where he spent hours at night studying his idea further. I think perhaps what you're doing with these kind of sentences is you're taking the shorthand that is used in script writing and applying it to article writing or prose. And you can't do that. It has to be said in a different way, right? So, the statue depicts Johnny in a walking stance, comma, holding a copper apple in his right hand. I don't think you need the subject of a study because we know that it's an apple, right? Depicting in a walking stance, holding a copper apple in his right hand and a bottle in his left. And I don't even think you need that, depicting the place where he spent hours and nights studying his idea further. And that's the sprint, for those of you sprinting. Because we know that he did that, right? And I don't see anything that shows, like, if it's depicting something, it means that it shows it. This statue is cool, but it doesn't show anything about the place, right? It's got Johnny and his apple and the bottle, which I assume represents cider or something, right? So, the statue depicts Johnny in a walking stance, holding a copper apple in his right hand and a bottle of apple cider in his left, right? Or a potion bottle in his left, or a bottle of fertilizer in his left, right? And that's probably sufficient. Although, again, I want to know which village, right? Because I assume this was put in the village where he was, and, you know, I think we need that information. Especially because it's clearly a big, like, cultural thing, right? Legacy. After Johnny Miller's death, and then in the later parts of the Great Rewind, the inhabitants of the village forgot who he was, but kept the idea that he was important. Okay, that makes sense. In the end, they assumed that the statue was there for religious reasons. These ideas were religious reasons. To them, the message was, or the message of the deity, and which deity, or to them it represented the message, the deity's message of, I don't know, to them it represented the deity's message, which was to work hard and to celebrate later. You don't need to say this was from the depiction of the statue. We can figure that out, right? This religion began to spread to other villages to the extent where a majority of villages have the same statue. Okay, that's cool, but again, what area of the world is this, and what's the name of the religion? And does the statue of Johnny therefore represent the deity or an avatar of the deity? Or did this get intermingled with the legend of Johnny Appleseed, which I could totally see? Right? It's a cool idea. I think it needs some editing, but otherwise, I really like it, James. I thought that these images from WorldForge looked very much like a statue too. So when I did the hero challenge, I used my WorldForge image and said it was a statue, right? So that's really kind of cool. References, name generator for surnames. Gotcha. You know what I really like about your world is the fact that you've got this whole working class focus. Right? Your heroes are working class heroes. These people work. They're respected for working. You know? They don't have to go kill fucking dragons. They're not billionaires. They're workers. They do a job. They do it well. They work hard. They innovate in the job that they're in. They're blue collar. I like it. I think that's really cool. Bode, yes, did not bode well, that's right. Yep, Esong had to take care of the cat, but is back, that's cool. Daz says, cat care means catch the cat first, yup. Daz says, I think he means the statue history was forgotten and the future people formed a religion on the statue. Yeah, I did get that, but the way it's phrased is kind of like, it's awkward and it confuses the meaning. You could say it like that there, James, like Daz did. In time, the history of the statue was forgotten, and the people of the village created a religion around what they thought it represented, which was the deity's message to work hard and celebrate later. And that is the growl for going back to work. And guys, I am actually going to do a writing sprint. Angstase, if you are still around, and if your article will take 15 to 20 minutes or less, then I can still do it, your writing, right? So you could post the link again if you wanted. I will have enough time to do another 15-20 minutes, so but for this one I'm gonna work. Blue glowing. I think I'm just gonna have to look up Blue Glow Pixabay again, which is what led me to all the damn pictures. See, 900 pictures. 900 bloody pictures, and a lot of them are jellyfish. Blue water, blue sky. I'm looking for something that looks like a blue glowing ottoman or button. Heh. Okay. Okay. I might need that later. For some reason, it is giving everything to me in French right now. Why is it doing that? Did it just suddenly decide to give me everything in French because I'm in Canada? That's annoying. There's a picture that would kind of have been cool for your murder flower there, Emily. That's a cool picture. Oh, hey. Alright. Alright, I better click on those and let them load. Otherwise, they're going to take forever. Not that I can't figure out the French, but I can mostly read it, actually. Okay, are we done finally? Fine, good. Okay. Okay, that's almost what I want. Problem is the background it's on. I'd have to do too much screwing around with it. I guess I'll save it anyway. Oh, hey, those are some neat potion bottles. I should save that for later too. That's the problem with Pixabay. Alright, I'm halfway through. WordPress logo, glowing blue. It's kind of neat. Gas stove. Those crystals are awesome. If I were doing an article on blue glowing crystals, those would be handy. That's a neat space picture. Yeah, but if I copied every neat space picture I ever found, I tell you. I feel like this picture here with the matches and that picture there with the 2020 should be combined. Cool blue glowing fish were neat. Oh, those are cool too. I don't even know what that is. Is that a moss? That's cool. Alright. Well, shit. I mean, come on! Space jellyfish! That's awesome. Pixabay. Deciding whether or not to use this. See, the problem is the glass and the straw look very modern. Nah. Meh. Okay, so I'm not gonna be able to find what I want. everything just choke up here for a second? Oh. Okay. Took a minute. Because French is the best language. Corrected link, okay. I'll get it ready. Huh, okay, cool. You're Filk, that's great. Okay, I think I'm gonna save this anyway, but... Drink. North... Northman. That's cool. Alright. Now. Because you know what? Maybe I can cut it off there. And then I don't have to worry about this ridiculous looking straw. Okay. Now. Alright, I'll leave that for a bit. I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, I've got an idea. Isn't it neat when you look through pictures of things, and then looking through the pictures of things gives you ideas of ways to change shit and flesh out your world building more? I love that, by the way. Let's go to... Actually, I think I'm just going to call that star mushrooms. And I think... Did I not put them in here? What the hell is the matter? Okay, there we go. And that's the sprint, by the way. There. Haha! I don't have any favorites. Okay. Flora. Okay, I'm going to change one thing here before I... And that is that I'm going to change which picture I have, because I have ideas now. Hello? Are you being annoying? Why are you being annoying? Yes, we're going to be annoying. Okay, fine. We'll do it the hard way. There. Bite me! Now, and instead of this picture, we're going to have this picture. Okay, now. James said, thanks, Sable. Hope I haven't annoyed you too much. Not at all. No, it's always a pleasure to do showcases. I like it. Right? Later on, should have pressed enter. Thanks for saying that about my world. It's good to hear. I like your stuff. I think it's really cool. I don't think enough people focus on working class heroes. I love that you do. I think we need more stories like that. If we had more stories like that, maybe people would have more respect for work. You know? Yeah. James shifts in his chair, culturally uneasy. Well, it's something that people forget, is that, and it's a thing that shapes the history of Canada, is that the French and the English used to think of each other as other races and were the enemies of their ancestral blood for generations, right? So it's one of the reasons why Canadians are so polite. We had no choice but to be polite. Yeah. Daz hands Amelie the word killer so article can fit in the challenge. Actually, like I keep saying, right? Canadians swear in casual company. They're very casual among their friends. When they start getting polite and they stop swearing, that's when you have to worry. It means they're on their best behavior. If they're on their best behavior, there could be trouble. Okay. Amelie says, I'm just inside the word count. No need to kill any nice words. That's excellent. You can never have enough nice pictures in reserve, says Amelie. Yeah, I saw the one picture there of the person with the glowing bits on them. I thought, oh, that might be a neat thing to be a trait like freckles that might appear on my sea elves. So I thought that was cool. Right? And then James shares us some words are going to die clip from Greg, which was hilarious. Kayetan says, I have an idea for the main plot for my magical fantasy superhero story, but lack an idea for the opening event. I would like to be more than just beating up random thugs. Well, what's the conflict of the story? What's the character like? What's their motivation? Right? Kind of start with the beginning of something. Yeah. Kayetan says, Polish is best. And there's the growl for the sprint, and we're about to do Angstaze's showcase. She says, ignore the left-hand column unless you're trying to figure out where you meant to be in the original song. It's just bookmarks. I gathered that. That makes sense to me. Okay, so the Mary Ellen Carter by, or to the tune of the Mary Ellen Carter by Stan Rogers. This is Angsthaze's filk. For those who don't know, a filk is when you either write something that's sort of like a folk song about a fictional universe, or when you take an existing song and change its lyrics. And the reason why the two, it has both meanings, is because filkers often took an original song and changed the lyrics to make a different song in order to highlight fictional worlds in the science fiction community, right? What Weird Al does is filk, right? It's just pop filk. You know, eat it, just eat it, you know? Okay. So, to Mary Ellen Carter. The gods who formed the universe, the world and peoples all, they led us through the fourth age, but then they declared, don't call. No prayer now will they answer. They have left us on our own. Four peoples muddling through their lives alone. Nice. Air joined in the festivities that marked the turning year, while Terra's bedrock confidence urged, make the truth come clear. And Aqua bade her peoples teach, heal, grow, and fill the seas. But Ignis said to go forth and be free. There are angels to remind you still to stay the gods' true path. But if somebody should harm you, they would knock it off their ass. It's not the best rhyme, but it works and it's funny. I like it. Okay, no higher powers shelter us. We know that in the end, the only ones to lean on are our friends. But friendship is not nothing, for our cultures have been formed out of our own agreements, mortal words against the storm. For people are the only bar from those who bring us pain, but still the ways that we have bound ourselves remain. We remain, and there's no one but us to accept praise or blame. No matter whether a choice bring us profit, joy, or pain, all the four gods may have gone, but we remain. Yep, I like it. Okay, for it is not that in the heavens that the truth was ever found. It's people's work to struggle with the paths to which we're bound. No rules can encompass everything that we must know, and it's our responsibility to grow. Now we've made our laws and challenged them and changed them to improve. We can't afford to, I'm not sure that quite fits, but I'll listen to the song and double check. We can't afford to rest here, for times change and laws must move. No appeal to divine guidance can relieve us from the strain, because the four gods have all left, but we remain. We bind ourselves to many things, but we must not be bound by those so deep in theory that common sense has drowned. They know precedents in history, but not the pain of life. I wonder how they would react to strife. I like this because you're borrowing the whole, drowned and drunken thing here as well from the original verse. It's nice. Yeah, and you to whom the status quo is causing damage still, with laws all ranged against you and justice a bitter pill. Take heart and seek out honest friends to offer you their strength. Although the gods have left, our comrades still remain. Strength remain. That's not the best rhyme either, but it works. We remain, and there's no one but us to accept praise or blame, no matter whether choices bring us profit, joy, or pain. All the four gods may have gone, but we remain. I like it. I like it a lot. This is actually, you've been reading the history of filk. You've been familiarizing yourself with with filk artists. So I'm sure you know that there are many songs about how we cannot rely on divine guidance. In particular, Julia Ecklar did like a whole album where there were 4 or 5 songs that had that particular theme, and Leslie Fish has been known to do them from time to time too. Right? I like it. I like it a lot. That's great. I'm going to listen to the song later, and so I'm going to keep this up so that I can put on the song and double check your Scanson. And if unlike the people who were grilling you in the website, I guess, if I see that it doesn't quite fit, I will make suggestions that will be practical instead of, just going, that doesn't work. So, that is cool. My sanguine horse stories are not very aristocratic, says Oxhaze. Yeah, to be fair, Star Spangled Banner. Yeah, no doubt, that's true. This is true. No, that's cool. Good for you. That is excellent. Is that your first attempt at a filk? Because it's good. And I like the fact that you chose a Stan Rogers song, too. That's really nice. He's not often filked, I find, because a lot of filkers are Americans, right? And I guess Stan Rogers just doesn't have the same cultural significance to them as he does to us, so that's really cool. Thanks. Reload the page when you do. I'm going through and adding bold, distressed syllables. That helped, by the way. Yeah, there is syllable squishing in the original too. Yeah, and that's fine. That's totally fine, and that's why you have to listen to it, because sometimes you do have to do syllable squishing even in original tunes, and if you do it right and you've got the rhythm, then it's good. It's just like poetry, right? Only music, of course, when you're dealing with song lyrics, is less forgiving of going off Scanson, right? But yeah, so many zombie filks to Mary Ellen Carter. Yeah. I can see it. All right. We have 8 minutes left to the sprint, 13 minutes left to the stream. So Kayatana's story is going to search for an ancient magical medallion, and he's semi-pantsing. It would be released chapter by chapter on World Anvil. Ah, it's a good idea. Yes, keep people hooked with, serializing. That's great. Story of my life, Emily. After months of procrastinating sewing the buttons back on a shirt, I'm finally getting ready to do it, only now I have, of course, lost the buttons. Does Filking I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud in HS count? Yep. Why not? Yes, I like that phrase and have used similar ones there, Kayatan. So, alright. I'm going back to my mushrooms. What do you think, by the way? Did you guys like the original cover picture better with the green glowing mushrooms? Or did you like my blue fluorescent ones? This is kind of how I originally pictured them, but I couldn't find a picture of blue glowing mushrooms. Right? But, I've now thought that perhaps the mushrooms are immature still when they're glowing green, and when they're glowing blue, it means that they're ready to release spores as soon as the, solar radiation touches them. I like the blue one, and I've already forgotten the green one. Okay, good enough. Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate the advice. That's excellent. That's pretty much what I needed to know. Good stuff. Okay. And that would all be in growth rate and stages. A star mushroom. Begins life as a spore that takes root in the bark of a tree of life. Over time, Okay. Actually, star mushroom spores, despite the size of the adult fungus, still propagate as a dust-like substance. A dust or pollen-like substance. As microscopic entities that become dust-like or pollen-like in aggregate. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Can't spell today. There we go. Needed 2 G's. Okay. In aggregate. There. Takes root as a spore that takes root in the bark of a tree of life. Over time, these spores grow into a complex web of filaments known as the universal veil. That can be as universal veil. These filaments begin as microscopic swell to enormous size over time. Appearing at first as has glowing blue coating over the surface of the tree's bark. Perhaps. And that's the sprint through cosmic moss. These filaments appear first as a glowing blue coating on the surface of the tree's bark, perhaps glistening through a carpet of cosmic moss. But over time, they expand to enormous, to large, visible veins of glowing blue, blue fluorescence. There's a word for that type of glow. Electric blue weaving through the bark's cracks and rough patches. Ha! Okay, now that I've finished that idea, Blue, says Daz. Emily says I have a goldfish memory. Good enough. Good enough. Thanks for the comments on the color. That's great. James says, has anyone else in Europe added an hour on to see what time it would be now if the stream for us wouldn't have moved for us? I would be in bed by now. Yes. Yes, it's an unfortunate thing that I seem to lose my European viewers like an hour before my stream is finished, usually. And that's if they stay up late. I tried to figure out how to move things so I could start earlier on my late nights, 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific, but I really can't. Not without cutting into other people's available slot, and I don't feel good about that. So I'm not sure what to do about it. I'm not a morning person, so I really can't start I can't get up at 10 o'clock in the morning and start streaming. I could, but I'd be a lot grouchier. You would like me a lot less, so. Okay. Emily has 1 hour more to finish sewing. Or could go to bed early since she was up to 3 a.m. to finish flower pictures. Games GM asks, hey Sable, what would be another word? Or a word for this land is not possible to go through? Unpassable? Untraven? That might be. Just a sec. Not spelled like that, but let's see here. Untraven. I think untrodden is the word you're looking for, but I'll try it. No, untraven is not a word, but untrodden is. And I think that's what you're groping for here, like this. Untrodden, like so. Which means that nobody's walked on it, right? James says to Emily, 11 a.m. for us tomorrow if you want to watch Greg's stream. Emily says, I booked the lab from 9 to 10 in the morning, but has to go to the post office on the way back, so not sure if she'll be on time or not. That's for Greg's stream. So Siobhan may be getting the COVID vaccine earlier than expected. I think we're all getting it earlier than expected. When are you getting yours? And good news, that's great. James says, Emily, don't worry about it. If you watch like October 2020, you see I leave early for meetings. Ignore the growl, by the way, because we're at the end of the stream, and I'm just going to finish up the chat here, and then we're going to head off. So, Emily hates missing people's stream. Headed out for the night. See you at games, says E-Song. Have a good dinner. I'll see you at the game. And good night, Kayatan. Always a pleasure to see you. 1 button sewn, 2 left. Got it. Untraversable. Okay. Laria's like, oh, this is unusual. I'm normally asleep when you finish. Yes, it's really unfortunate that I lose my European audience an hour before I finish. It's very disappointing. I hope you guys get a chance to watch the VOD later if this is a stream that you like. And it's a shame. I've really been trying to think about how to work around that. I'm actually considering wondering if I can ask Aaron to switch his slot, but then again, he gets European audience too, so it's not really fair to him either, is it? Anyway, I think that's it for today. Alright, so tonight we will be back at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, and since we're at GMT -7 at the moment, hi Claire, I'm sorry, I know, but I'll be back tonight. Okay, so 5:30 p.m. Pacific, which is, let's see, 12:30 a.m. GMT for a change. We will be doing Toysoldier's Old School, our Pathfinder First Edition campaign that takes place in the Toysoldier Saga universe. It's kind of a prequel to the novels, right? So far, nothing has gone horribly off the rails, so it is considered canon. I may write stories about it in the future, and we're having a lot of fun, so come check it out. Monday is our day off. Tuesday, Aaron will be back for Ask an Old GM, 1 p.m. Pacific. That would be 8 p.m. GMT. Runs for 3 hours. Wednesday, I'm back for Diane Writes, 1 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. GMT. Also runs for 3 hours. I do showcases and edits on Wednesdays, so you're welcome to bring me your articles then and your writing. On Thursday, I'm back again for Diane Writes, or Diane Actually Writes, rather, which is writing sprints. I don't do showcases or edits that day. 2 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. GMT this week. Also runs for 3 hours. So maybe you'll have a chance to actually see the whole thing, those of you who are in Europe. Thanks so much. I had a lot of fun. Let's see who is... And I really enjoyed the articles that I was looking at today. You guys are very creative. And the Filk. Anastasia, it's amazing. I'm really excited that you're writing Filk, actually. I can't help but take an interest in it being a Filker myself, right? So, I have nobody to read! What the shit is this? Ah, what are you talking about? Okay, I obviously have to go on Twitch now and see what writers are active. Oh, Travis is up. We could raid him, I suppose. Bigfoot Bjornson is up. Amanda Panda Sensei is up. Caesar the Writer is up. Misfit Mina is up. Raven Writes is also up. Cobalt Press. You know what? I think I have yet to raid Raven Writes. And he's cool. So we're going to go raid him. So let's do that. Don't forget the raid call, which is prepare to be boarded because we are the Sable's privateers. It, as always, has been a pleasure, and I will hopefully see some of you in a few hours. And if not, oh, thank you for the bits, Games. Oh, you're amazing. Thank you. As always, it's been a pleasure, and if I don't see you tonight, I will see you on Tuesday or Wednesday. Bye.